All right, good evening and welcome to the August 10th, 2026 Genoa Charter Township Planning Commission meeting. Our first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've had some adjustments to the Planning Commission at the direction of the Township Board recently. So this is our first meeting with a new member, and then as Vice Chair, I'm temporarily stepping in as Chairman for the Planning Commission. So our first order here is the election of officers. So right now we are vacant the seat of Chairman, and so. So our discussion first is how do we fill that chair seat? As vice chair, I just want to put out there, I'd prefer to not be chairman. And the reason for that is because I see the chairman role as being one that needs to manage the meeting really well. And I think that the best use for my skills is to be more active on creating motions and helping maybe challenge or direct conversations at different times. And so my preference is to not be chairman. And so I just want to state that out front. And also, I think it would be beneficial to have a chairperson with great experience. And so we have a lot of great experience on this board, which is fantastic. And we have an opportunity to elect someone that could do that really well. And my preference would be, just to put it out there, is that Commissioner McCreary would be our chairperson. And so I'm putting that out there as an option for us for discussion, but also open to all discussion, of course. So what is this board's thoughts?
Are there any restrictions against appointing or nominating anybody that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Commissioner McCreary serves on ZBA as chairman. My understanding is that there is not a restriction of that. Okay. I believe there's a restriction for you as an elected officer as township board to not have an officer position on planning commission, but a representative position on township board. Okay. Those are the only restrictions I'm aware of. Amy, you could probably clarify.
Correct. Those
Okay.
are the only ones I'm aware of also.
Okay.
I would support that recommendation if Chairman McCreary would be willing to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure some conversation might have taken place already. But I think you do an excellent job. Chair.
Thank you.
I agree.
I would make a motion to nominate for Mary Ann McCreary for chair.
Second.
All right. We have support. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Seeing none, we have a new chairperson.
All right.
Our second order of business will be to nominate a secretary position that Mary Ann just vacated. So who would like to be the secretary on behalf of the Planning Commission?
I'll nominate Glenda.
My only concern with doing that is my attention to detail. That, I mean, just watching Mary Ann and her attention to detail is pretty incredible. And I don't know if anyone else feels that they have good attention to detail. I mean, I'm certainly willing to try it, but I'm just saying that I would want your eyes and ears on those meeting minutes as well.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Okay, shot's better than no shot.
You're willing to do it though, I hear?
I'll accept it for the rest of the term and see how it goes.
All right.
How about the team?
Mm-hmm.
We have elections again in January, right? Is that an annual?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yes.
if you don't like it, then we
Yeah,
discuss
give me a
it
few
then.
months to try it out.
We have a motion?
Move Glenda for secretary.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, seeing none. We have a new secretary. Thank you. All right. I did forget our commissioner introductions that I mentioned. So I don't know if that's something you want to start with or not. But
Myself?
yeah.
Sure. Mary Ann McCree, my husband and I have lived in Livingston County since 1998 when we moved here. I'm a resident of Genoa Township since 2002. Proud grandma of 3 kids, 3 grandchildren. We also have 3 children. And I've been a licensed realtor since I moved here in 1988. Served on my local board as the president and also served on the state for the Michigan Association of Realtors, Public Policy, and the board of directors there. Love what I do. I love community. I love building community. And this was a nice kind of a segue being on the Planning Commission since 2018 and also been on the ZBA since 2009. So love where I live and love the opportunity to help serve the people that live here and help grow the community and be able to apply my skills from my profession to the community. So.
Well, I'll go next. Eric Rauch, and I've been on the Planning Commission since 2013. Prior to the Planning Commission, I worked as a civil engineer for a decade and have a degree as well in urban and regional planning. That was prior to a call into ministry, which I now serve as an executive pastor at a local church here and have been doing so for the last 17 years. And so, yeah, I've been on the Planning Commission since 2013, have lived in Genoa Township since 2009. My wife Stacy and I have been married 21 years. We have 2 wonderful kids also live in our community, and we just enjoy all things Genoa Township.
Greg Rassel lives in Genoa Township, 30 years, 2 years on the Planning Commission, 6 years on Zoning Board of Appeals before that. I'm retired Public Works Director for the City of Royal Oak, and I'm also retired Colonel from the Marine Corps Reserve. Yeah, I said we've been here 30 years.
My name's Tim Chenard. I was born and raised in Livingston County. I've been a home builder and remodeler since 1999. Served on the Livingston County Home Builder Association board for 23 years, in some capacity, as well as a past president. Raised my 2 beautiful and intelligent daughters here, and don't plan on leaving.
Jacob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I'm Michael Hitchinian. I'm the new commissioner. I'll give you a little idea of my background. I recently retired. I was the president of a company called Magnetic Products Incorporated in Highland. Really nice family-owned company. When you had your cereal this morning, there was no metal in it. Well, that's because we make a product called metal detectors, and we remove the metal. So just think about that every time you're having made in Michigan is a device that takes the metal out because, there's conveyors and stuff is falling out all over. So anyway, I volunteered to be on a few different committees, et cetera, in the city, and I really like the city. And so I'm delighted to be on the Planning Commission. I lived many places. I lived in 7 different states, and it's quite an interesting background, which if I take a minute, it might be relevant. So I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and went to school there as an engineer, and then I got my MBA later. And I worked at a variety of different manufacturing companies and did sales and marketing and some other things. And then I started on a road to help struggling companies, and I went all over the country. I moved to Naperville, Illinois, which is a really wonderful city. If you know anything about Naperville, it's a controlled growth. Then I moved to Upland, California, which is a beautiful city. I mean, you wouldn't think about the LA area. It's pretty far east. It's absolutely beautiful. Then I moved back to Milwaukee to a city called Brookfield, Wisconsin, which is also a very nice town. Then I moved to Rhode Island and lived in the Ocean State. So that was a real experience. And then we lived in downtown Chicago for 7 years, which was very interesting. Then we lived in Westchester, Ohio. That's a suburb of Cincinnati. And then also there I worked for a as a co-manager of a startup venture capital fund for the area of Dayton. So there was a community organization called the Dayton Develop Coalition, and got very involved in a lot of economic development and doing things to really get their economy pumped up. And then I moved to Massachusetts, and we just love the East Coast. Then I moved here to Michigan to run this family-owned company, and we lived in the North Shore area, and we love it. We've been here 8 years. We just love it. So I've been married 53 years to the same woman, and
Congratulations.
my high school sweetheart. And we have 2 married children who live in California with 3 grandchildren. Delighted to be here and do what I can contribute to a beautiful community. Thank you all for the good work you've been doing. It's a great community.
My name is Bill Reiber. I am the liaison to the Planning Commission. I am on the Board of Trustees in the position of a trustee, was elected 2 years ago. I've been a resident of Genoa Township since 2003. My wife and my 2 kids moved here from Livonia. We lived right on Inkster Road. So across the street was Redford, and on my side of the street was Livonia. It was a very busy road right there with a lot of traffic. And as soon as my daughter learned how to unlatch the fence and start learning how to climb our chain link fence to get right onto Inkster Road, it was time to go. My mother-in-law lives out here. The home builder at the time was Centex, which is the same home builder that built my brother-in-law's home. He had nothing but rave reviews of Centex. So I live off of Grand River, right across the street from Home Depot, in a subdivision called the Ravines of Rolling Ridge. I've lived in the same house for 23 years now. My background prior to that was I graduated Lawrence Institute of Technology with electrical engineering degree in 1990. I've spent most of my career in the automotive industry, as you might guess, living here in Michigan. Went through a couple of layoffs, got rehired, another layoff, got rehired, so I'm used to some ups and downs. I'm glad that I still live in Genoa Township, have no immediate plans to relocate. It's a great place. It's a great place to live. I think that the Planning Commission has done a very good job maintaining the rural setting, which is why I moved out here, is to get a little more green, a little more slowed down area, which is what a lot of people I think moved out here for. Other than that, then I'm very happy to be part of this commission. I've learned a lot from the people here that have a lot more experience than I do in this. Met a lot of new people. It is a learning experience, I can tell you that. Not only to be on the Planning Commission, but also as a trustee. And welcome, Mike. And congratulations, Marianne. Congratulations, Glynis.
Thank you. So not to repeat anything anyone else has said, I'll make it simple. My name is Glynis McBain. I have lived in Livingston County, Genoa Township for 28 years, raised my family here, been married 38 years. Raised 3 kids here. I've served on several boards, was the chair of many, including the Hall Chamber, Cleary University. Now sold my company, which is a property management firm that manages condominium and homeowner associations. Sold that, stayed on board with the company that purchased it, working part-time, and wanted to contribute in an area outside of education. So I joined the Planning Commission, I believe in 2019, just before lovely COVID, and it's been a very enjoyable experience. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you. All right. I believe we turn it over to Glennis now as our chairman, right?
Well, Marianne.
I'm sorry, Marianne. One of my...
Oh,
Marianne,
all right.
you're our chairperson.
All right. At this time, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have an approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is for a declaration of conflict of interest. Is there anyone here that has a conflict of interest of any of the items that are on the agenda this evening? Seeing as none, we will move on. The next item here is the call to the public. Now, this call to the public is for anything that is currently not on the agenda this evening. So if you're here to speak on behalf of something that is not on the agenda, I would ask that you get up and stand up to the podium. If you would like to give Patty, our secretary here, who is recording the notes and the minutes of the meeting, your name and address, this would be the time to state anything that is not on the agenda at this time. And since we have no one jumping up, we will walk right into the first item on the agenda, which is the open hearing, open public hearing number 1. It's the consideration of a special land use application, environmental impact assessment, and a site plan for a proposed drive-through coffee shop in the Grand River Plaza. The property is located at 3599 Grand River Ave, north side of Grand River Ave and west of Latson. The request is petitioned by Carly Datar of, is it Oleo Development Group? Is that correct? Okay. Carly, if you'd like to stand up at the podium or sit if you'd prefer, we'd like to hear what your proposal is in regards to the seven brew coffee.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
You can sit at the table. Yep. Just let, yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
For the record, Carly is nowhere near as tall as I am.
Okay.
I'm Joe Horton. I'm with CESO, serving as the civil engineering and architectural consultant for Oleo Development. Carly is expecting any day now.
Okay.
So had some travel restrictions, and I'm here on her behalf,
Thank you, Joe.
of course.
Appreciate it. So tell us why you're here and tell us a little bit about your project.
Yes, of course. So, as you indicated, we are here for a special land use approval and consideration by Planning Commission. We are looking at just under 0.7 acres of a development, part of the larger Hobby Lobby development on the front of Grand River there. And our proposed use is a Seven Brew Coffee drive-through coffee chain. Seven Brew's kind of motto or mission is to cultivate kindness, which you see that played out in their business model. It's a drive-through coffee facility, but is also focused on building relationships. So in their business model, they do have employees that are out walking the queue and interacting with people that very frequently are repeat customers that come back time and time again to get one of their 20,000 drink options. It is a drink-only stand that has a combination of coffees, smoothies, milkshakes. I think they typically say there's something there for everyone. But this particular site ties in nicely into the larger development that I know Planning Commission and the township approved a couple of years ago. And we'll bring that currently vacant property into a nice coffee development. But thank you guys so much for having me. More than happy to answer any questions and that might be had. I know as far as the special land use review, we intend to meet all comments and conditions that were indicated within the second round of review.
All right. All right. Excuse me. Well, next we'll go to the planner's review. And Brian, can we start with you in regards to looking at your review for the Seven Brew Coffee?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Joe, for the introduction on the project. So procedurally, this request is before Planning Commission for special land use review, site plan review, and also consideration of the environmental impact assessment. Because it's a special land use, the drive-through component is what triggers the special land use review here. Planning Commission is to review each of those three items on your agenda and put forth recommendations to the Township Board. So ultimately, the board will have the final approval authority over all three of those items. That being said, I will kind of just briefly roll through my letter. So I start with the general special land use standard. So we did review the request in relation to section 19.03 of the Township Zoning Ordinance, did find, in my opinion, that generally those standards are met. I do have my typical two caveats to that opening statement, and that is first and foremost, drive-throughs do have their own set of use conditions. So if you're going to make favorable findings on all of section 19.03. I do think in particular, those items related to impacts and compatibility, we do need to make a finding that the standards of, 70202J are met to your satisfaction. So provided that's the case, I think you can make a clean finding on section 1903. And of course, we also have standards under 1903 related to infrastructure and capacity of services. So we want to make sure that any comments put forth by the township engineering consultant or Brighton Area Fire Authority are also addressed as part of this overall review. Moving into the use conditions, so I just referenced 70202J. Similar, we did find that those standards are generally met. There is one item that is not, but Planning Commission does have the discretion to grant it, and that is related specifically to the spacing requirement between drive-through restaurant uses or drive-through coffee shops. In this case, this proposed outlot is situated almost immediately north of the existing Arby's, which also has a drive-through. So under the ordinance, the petitioner either has to provide a 500-foot spacing between property lines of drive-through uses, or Planning Commission would have to use its discretion to waive or modify that standard. In this particular case, there are 2 or 3 items that can be presented that will allow commission to use that discretion. And in this case, we did find that those conditions are present. I believe notably in this case, it is no direct access to the main roadway. This use will only be accessible by the internal road network for the Grand River Plaza. So it does not have direct access to from Grand River. But again, that's a discretionary item for the commission to consider. Moving into my site plan review, we did ask the petitioner present material and or color samples of the proposed building. I think there were, I know we had elevation drawings. I don't remember if they were color renderings or not, but obviously those are 2 items that are always beautiful. Thank you. Subject to commission consideration as well. So you do have review and approval authority over the building materials and the color palette. With respect to parking, this is one item as a result of 7 Brew taking over this outlot. Grand River Plaza will be losing 49 additional parking spaces. Those of you that were with us in 2024 may recall when Grand River Plaza went through their big remodel, they also sought a parking reduction at that time. So Planning Commission has the ability to reduce parking in situations where there are multiple uses with different peak times in terms of their peak times throughout the day. So if we have uses that don't necessarily overlap and the petitioner can demonstrate that individual businesses won't all be full at the same time, then commission can use their discretion to reduce parking. That was granted in 2024. I believe my notes indicate it was an 88 space reduction at that time. So as part of this project, Grand River Plaza will need a further reduction of their parking by another 49 spaces. So I think I did the total math in my review letter if anyone's interested, but essentially it's a 7% additional reduction from what was previously granted. So that will be one item, again, commission will have to give consideration to as part of your review this evening. My next set of comments are just getting into some more of the site design items. So I did have a comment on the lighting plan. Lighting plan does depict some pole-mounted fixtures around the parking lot. Nothing on the lighting plan was identified as wall-mounted or building-mounted fixtures for the actual structure that's going up. So in that instance, I've asked the petitioner to confirm that there are no wall-mounted light fixtures, or if they are, then we will want to see that added and blended into the photometric plan. Also need to incorporate details of both the proposed light poles as well as the proposed light fixtures, though I think they are pretty standard LED downward directed fixtures, but we like to make sure we have all those details in our final sets of plans. Landscape comment, just a couple of them, very minor. The ordinance makes a distinction between two types of deciduous trees. So there are what we consider ornamental, which are a little bit smaller, and then there are what we define as canopy, which are a little bit larger. And there are different ratio requirements for those different types of trees. In this particular instance, they do provide all of the required quantities of trees in their landscape plan, but there is one ornamental tree that just needs to be increased in size slightly from a 2-inch caliper to a 2.5-inch caliper so that it qualifies as a canopy tree. Upon that change, the landscape plan will essentially be fully compliant. I did identify also a couple real minor inconsistencies on the landscape plan that we'll just want to see corrected moving forward as well. The way the site lays out, I did have a couple comments on the refuse removal as well. So it is a little tight in terms of navigating the site with both a drive-through and for their refuse or recycle removal. So I did suggest and/or may even need to be a condition that their removal schedule will need to be during either off-peak, if not off-business hours for this site. I think if the site were, certainly if it were at its peak and the drive-through is full, plus employee parking, I think the refuse removal is going to find it very difficult to navigate the site without disrupting traffic flow. So that's not an uncommon thing we see in tighter sites like this, but I did want to make sure I put that out there. There's also a detail we need added with respect to their waste receptacle and enclosure. So township zoning ordinance requires the extension of a concrete base pad to really support not only the weight of the receptacle, but then also the weight of the vehicle lifting and removing the refuse out of the receptacle. So they did make a note that that was incorporated, but I do need to see that in terms of the detail as well. Signage was another one. So we don't often or always dive into sign details at this stage. Petitioner, if the board does ultimately grant the approvals needed, petitioner will still have to come in and get sign permits to put up their signage. But at face value, the number of signs that are depicted on those elevation drawings do exceed what the ordinance would allow. So I did put forth a suggestion, again, since this has to move through multiple steps still, I would like to see them identify a compliant sign package as part of this submittal so that when it goes to the board, there isn't confusion, there aren't concerns about that. But again, they'll still have to get permits for those things anyway. I just think it makes for a cleaner process moving forward. And then my closing comment on the site plan is similar to my closing comment on the special land use standards. And that is simply the comments from engineering and/or fire authority need to be addressed as well as part of this review process.
So while we're on the planner's review, I'm sensing some questions that would like to be asked. So Eric?
Yeah, I want to talk more about the parking space. Are we able to approve the reduction of parking spaces for the benefit of the adjacent property? Doesn't that feel like a request necessary for the user of those parking spaces? Does that make sense? Help clarify.
Yeah, but
for me
as an outlot, I believe the landlord, the owner of the Grand River Plaza had to have authorized this project. So this isn't an out and out purchase, I don't believe.
It's not
They'll be leasing the space
the
from
lease of the okay, so
from
it's
the plaza
the same
ownership.
property owner.
Correct.
That's helpful. Thank you. Okay.
To that point, are there other plots adjacent to this that would be separate entities for business purposes going in there? So next to yours, are there additional plots that will be taking up that space where you're diminishing parking now?
I believe the designated area, it's 1.9 acres. That currently, if you drive by the site, it's just the undeveloped that
Correct.
has curbing all around it.
Yes.
The current master plan, I think, for that development is to have the site directly to the west be developed separately. But at least in my review of what was approved in 2024, that I believe it was 1.9 acres was not included in what was approved for the greater development.
Amy, do we know how many potentially could be
They were master planning for 2. And that was from our talks with the owner, the property owner.
So
They were
this would-
looking at having 2 outlots.
So this would be one,
Yep.
and the additional would be second.
Yes, that's
Okay.
what they would like to have, yes.
Okay.
So that's another 44 spaces.
Or more.
Yeah.
I think that our property is bigger.
49.
This is 49, but
This is, yeah,
Taking 49, right?
this one's 49?
Correct.
So we have a potential for somebody coming for another 40 to 50 something.
I would think, if I'm just recalling off the cuff, but I think what was depicted a couple of years ago did show potentially 2 outlot spaces. I want to say they were roughly similar in size, so probably a pretty good guess.
Wouldn't that second space be larger? If it's just 2, I would suspect.
It might be there, but
Yeah.
they're very similar. I mean, I don't remember the size of this particular portion, but this might be a little smaller, but it's going to be pretty close.
You mentioned, where would employees be parking?
So employees typically park on site, and the majority of Seven Brew service is in that drive-through. With it being just a 510 square foot building, it's not one where people come and sit down and hang out. It's simply grab your coffee and proceed off site. So there are some additional spaces beyond the typical 4 to 7 employees that are on working. But I think it's 95% of their business is drive-through. They do have a walk-up window, but the majority of it is all through the drive-through
So
feature.
you mentioned there's 4 to 7 employees at a time or
At the peak,
maximum?
at the peak, yes,
Okay. So you've got 8 parking spaces there,
correct.
and how many are handicapped?
We have one ADA space.
So potentially you're talking about employees taking every one of those parking spaces, but it doesn't mean that they can't take the spaces that are to the north of them either.
Correct.
I was curious about the operations of the dual drive-through lanes, or that's what I interpret those as.
Yes.
So, talk to me about that.
So the way I understand it is that there's employees are walking in between both of those lanes, and they are trained on the best way to direct traffic. So that way, if somebody has a basic order that is a simple coffee and they're able to fulfill that order quickly. they can
Okay, so
provide it.
there's employees with iPads or something
Yes.
out there taking orders, kind of like a Chick-fil-A model of service.
Very similar,
Okay.
yes. And there is no squawk box or actual order station.
Okay.
There are QR codes where customers can come and get the menu and place
Interesting.
an order, but it's usually somebody walking up, greeting you by name if they've been there before, and fulfilling an order that way.
And then the architectural rendering, is that a corporate standard, or has that been updated to a Genoa Township standard?
There is an enhancement when it comes to the Nichiha brick that is unique to Genoa Township, where you see the top portion. And
So the tan color
the
there.
tan shale brown. That in other sites is just a typical pack clad metal cladding.
Okay.
And in this instant, we went for a more involved brick finish.
Yeah. Thank you for making that change and that update. I appreciate it. At first, the blue kind of bothered me in the rendering, but then just looking up and down Grand River in this specific spot, it actually matches pretty well with Farm and Fleet, and then across the street with Bell Tire. So I think it actually works quite well.
I had a quick question. I just couldn't figure it out in the drawings, but where do they pick up their coffee?
Just in their car, where somebody will walk out the coffee.
So there are staff always outside taking orders and delivering coffee from the building?
Yes,
In Michigan.
even in Michigan.
Okay.
So you pull up on, I'll say, the right side of the building from the packet, page 16. There's somebody out there with an iPad. They take your order. You pull around 180 degrees and somebody's out there waiting with your drink or your coffee outside as well?
as order flow would continue, there's usually 2 people taking orders, 2 people making coffees, and 1 person running. That would get you to your 5 employees. And depending on how busy things are, that could fluctuate or change. But it is a well-oiled machine that I've seen in other sites. And as far as the weather goes, my first 7 brew experience was in negative 10-degree weather on a site in Ohio, and there was still somebody out. Thankfully, they had gloves, and the line was still moving.
And is that managed by employees with shovels or whatever they need to as far as safety concerns? How
As
is
far
that
as
done?
heat goes, I can't speak for exactly how this franchisee handles it, but I have seen other locations do space heaters and everything else to make sure, obviously, employees are safe and taken well care of.
Safe heat,
Space heaters?
space heaters outside?
I believe so.
Probably under the canopy.
Okay.
Sure. So how many of these are built and operating today?
From a corporate
It's not-
standard, the answer is a lot. I know this particular franchisee in Michigan and Western New York is scheduled to open 45 this year alone. And the hopes is that they would do 70 just in Western New York and Michigan next year. But as far as nationwide, I haven't gotten a clear number. I think it's somewhere between 300 and 500.
Is there any relationship between this business, because you started off saying, did you use the name Hobby Lobby because that's the biggest leasing?
That was the anchor tenant
The
of the
anchor.
larger development. Excuse me.
I have a question on impact of traffic. How do you gauge that?
So I think in Brian's study, he even indicated that our AM peak hour is anticipated to be under 50 trips. There have been some other sites that oftentimes will have promotions that promote larger business events. And in that case, I've seen it handled the same way that it would be on a normal basis, where it's employees that are very well trained on getting people off the site as quick as possible by fulfilling their orders as quick as possible.
So this is based on a standard of your company as far as what your expectations are for drive-through, but also there's a notation in here regarding Genoa Township as far as under 10 acres has a estimate of traffic site. So it's just wondering where that number came from. Again,
Sure. I know for our ITE study on our traffic chip generation, and this is something that wasn't conducted at this site, but in another location, our typical threshold for doing a full-blown traffic study or anything like that is around over 100 AM peak hour trips, and our sites have always been less than 100 peak hour trips through ITE.
hours of operation, what are we talking about here?
This location, I'm not certain, but at other ones, it's been 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. And their typical peak hour, obviously, with being coffee, is in the morning, which seems to be flipped from the neighboring developments. But they do still have business and customers that will go and get a coffee or a smoothie or other drinks later in the evening.
Okay.
There are 665 locations in 38 states,
Wonderful.
and there aren't any in Michigan right now.
Is there one in Kalamazoo?
No, there's none in Michigan right now.
Oh, none?
This,
Okay.
whoever's building them is in the process of getting them built in many cities in Michigan because there's no
Correct.
open yet.
One that is open. I just saw it.
Oh, well, it's not on their website.
But they started in New York State,
They're corporately based out of Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes.
Not even close to New York State. Okay. All right. Any other questions regarding from the planner? Okay, so we need the engineering review, please.
Thank you. So Tetra Tech has conducted their review of the site plan, and we had the following comments. For drainage and grading, profiles should be provided for the storm sewers and information as required from LCDC standards, and the hydraulic grade line should be shown in the profile. Call out 13 on the utility plan indicates that there is a 4-inch storm pipe proposed. Minimum size for private storms should be 6 inches and updated. The storm sewer details should be provided, such as catch basins, storm cleanouts, slope channel, and anything else. And for the parking lot, details such as the pavement cross sections, sidewalk cross sections, and curb and gutter should be provided for review. And our recommendation is the petitioner address the above comments and resubmit for additional review.
And you've seen that report?
That's correct. The intent with the developer was to maintain a abbreviated special land use application and plan set, and then we will satisfy all those comments with a full engineering package following the special land use approval.
Okay, thank you. We also have a letter from the fire department in here that says, due to the facility's small size, limited occupant capacity, and existing access on 3 sides, they don't require additional access through the project parcel. That's their notations here. We go on to the impact assessment. Does anybody have any questions regarding the impact assessment?
I do have one quick question. I can see where the, what do you call the garbage truck trash receptacles? Are there any like person trash cans around? Like I see just about every drive-through, somebody's got a place where as you take off, you could throw away your straw wrapper or napkins or anything else like that.
I am not actually sure on that one. I don't believe so from the sites that I'm picturing. Not, at least not typically, but I can't speak to that.
I noticed on the impact assessment, and this is probably a moving document, but there's no date on that. So there should be a reference to the date on that.
If we make a motion, I was going to put that in as a condition.
Okay. I believe there's also a reference to a cross easement between the property to the east that has to be secured. From a previous amendment that was done when this project was initially approved with an adjoining tenant. Brian, we have those notes, I believe, in your engineering report. Is that correct? With Myers? Is that right?
Let's see.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I believe, if I recall correctly, I believe the easement was part of the 2024 remodel for the plaza. And then on the other side of it, an easement previously existed at Meyer as part of their PUD. So I believe the easement is in place.
Is in place?
Yeah, I think that what the township is dealing with, and Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, I think what the township is dealing with is trying to get both sides of the property line to actually build it.
To put it in place?
Yeah.
So next meeting, Myers is proposing for an outlot to be approved for a multi-tenant building. So we have met with Seven Brew and we have also met with proposed outlot owners and have informed them both about that access drive that we were wanting to have that installed
To connect.
to connect, correct?
So would that be a condition if this is the pleasure of the board that it would have to be done?
If the board chooses. But I think it would have to be dependent on
Both
also
sides.
on
On
Myers.
Meyer, yes.
Yep.
the
But for
property owner.
this side, is that in place today or not? In other words, do we need to do anything with this proposal to strengthen that easement? on this
I
side.
believe the easement, I thought the easement was in place as part of the approval 2 years ago, but.
Yeah.
It isn't, I do have a copy of the easement here, and of course, I'm not an attorney. It just says that they shall put it in at the cost of each property owner. I'm just looking here
At
to
which
see
time it's-
when is that trigger?
Yeah.
I think it does not say when a trigger is.
Well, the trigger would be in this instance, Meyer also agreeing to the same thing.
Correct.
We don't have that with Meyer right now, so
We-
a future project with Meyer would give us the opportunity to trigger both then.
We do have an easement from what, not, it's not an easement. It's a letter of record from Myers when it was approved that they would be putting in that access.
Okay.
But it won't impact this because it would have to be the property owner, not the lessee.
Well, because it's still all one property though, and we run things with the property, not the,
Right. but
Ownership of it.
Wouldn't be, he would not be granting the access, it would be the property.
owner.
the property owner, correct, yeah. But to Brian's point, we already have it.
Yeah, okay.
Right. It's just when do we,
Sounds like when Meyer comes in, we need to clarify it and enact it, because that is hanging out there in our community.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be something stated though for tonight
Okay.
to maybe clean that up
I agree.
or to clear it up, sorry.
Okay.
Just to clarify, are you guys referring to an access easement going along the southern portion of the
It would
two
run-
proposed development areas?
It runs parallel to Grand River between this project and the project to the east. So that at the end of, is it Farm and Fleet that's there?
Yeah, it's roughly
just-
300 feet away from your current property, actually. So it's not on your property. So that's why you would be asking the questions. But this does impact the overall project as a whole.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what is the relationship between Meyer? You're talking about Meyer, the grocery
Yeah.
store, Meyer.
Correct.
Maybe for the benefit, could we throw up their photo?
Oh. Sorry, this is not my computer, so bear with me. Oh, wait, there's Google Earth.
Amy, the one in my review letter, so you can zoom in on that. You
Oh,
can see that
okay.
existing, you can see essentially the common lot line as well as that paved area that was previously built.
All right, well, I'm here real quick, so hold on. 3883. I think 383 is Grand Rivers, is Meyer's address. Give it a whirl. Doesn't have the address in here. All right, that makes me dizzy.
That's the airport.
Well, this is 3599 Grand River, if that helps.
Yeah, that's not it. There we go.
So right there, Bill, you see that?
Yep.
Yep, and it would connect to this. So even though these are two separate parcels, Grand River Plaza is on, this easement affects both parcels.
Both of them? Yep.
Yes.
That's why it was drafted.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions at the moment? We'll go to a call to the public. Is there anyone here in the public that would like to speak to this project? Seeing none, we'll come back up to the board. Any more discussion regarding the special use application, environmental impact, or the site plan of the property? And Brian, thank you for mentioning the signs. I appreciate that.
I have none, Madam Chair, and would be willing to make a motion as well.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the Township Board approval of the special use application. And that this Planning Commission finds that the use standards of Section 19.03 are generally met, along with section 7.02.02 subsection J are also met to our satisfaction, specifically that a waiver for the 500 foot from other drive-throughs can be granted in this instance because of the internal road network and lack of access to a public road for this project.
So we,
That's my motion.
so we have a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries for the recommendation of the special use application. Now we need an environmental impact assessment.
Yep, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend approval of the environmental impact assessment that's included in our packet with the condition that a date be added to it.
We have a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last item is the site plan, recommendation of the site plan.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the Township Board approval of the site plan. Is there a date on that site plan?
527.
Okay, dated 5/27/2026. Finding that the reduction of spaces for the overall property by 49 is found sufficient in this instance because of the varying peak business hours of the properties. That refuge removal on the subject parcel will be during closed hours only. That more concrete be added in front of the dumpster as well, per the details. That signs on future renderings for submissions will meet requirements of the township ordinance as to clarify intent there. That the petitioner will meet all requirements in the fire department letter dated 8/4/2026 prior to issuance of a land use permit. That the petitioner will meet all requirements of the engineering consultant's letter from Tetra Tech of 8/4/2026 prior to the land use permit as well. And that the Planning Commission wants to make notice of its intent to create a connection between this overall property and the Meyer property as previous approvals have suggested to, and that's incumbent upon the property owner to make those improvements when all agreements have been put in place.
So we have a motion. We have support,
Support.
discussion.
Yes. The parking thing is, I think there should be a trigger somewhere, and it should be his responsibility to come in
Yeah.
and request a reduction, because he's just leasing the property and building parking spaces. The impact is on the overall development, and this property owner is reducing the number of his parking, already having a waiver.
Can I update my recommendation then?
So, sure.
Yeah, that all future submittals will require an overall parking plan that demonstrates the businesses, business hours, and the parking needs of the overall parcel and how new projects impact that.
Okay.
Take that out, the reduction of spaces for the overall, is that scratch that?
So the approval of the waiver of 49 spaces is granted, is my recommendation, subject to future submittals demonstrating and having a parking assessment, basically.
Right. That's
So that, because there's an outlet next to
Right,
this,
right.
we'll have the same
You have the
discussion.
same issue.
Yes,
And the overall property owner should prove that the reduction's not affecting
everyone else.
everyone else.
Yep.
Agreed.
Great. One more item for discussion regarding lighting and landscaping. Did we add those
No.
in the motion?
I believe those were part of Brian's review letter.
Okay.
But I did not
You did
capture that
not-
though.
No,
And so that one last one as well, that the safe built letter from July 30th, 2026 shall be complied with any deficiencies currently.
All right, so we have a motion. We have support. We had discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Pardon?
Say nay. No.
No. Sorry. Congratulations.
Thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Well done. No, yeah, totally.
Next item on the agenda is item number 2, the MHOG Administration Building. And who do we have here this evening to speak about MHOG?
Good evening, Jason Lippo with Schaefer Construction, 102 East Grand River, Brighton, Michigan. With me, I have Greg Tatera with MHOG, and he would like to provide an intro and background on the new facility.
Thank you.
Thank you for your consideration of this new administration building. For those of you that don't know, MHOG hasn't been MHOG, but it's actually Genoa Township employees have done billing, operational services for the 4 townships in this building here in Genoa Township Hall since 1998. As our staff has grown and as the MHOG system has grown, now serving well over 20,000 customers in the 4 townships. We also operate the Oak Point sewer and water systems, as well as Howell Township's sanitary system. We are running out of space here in Genoa Township Hall. So with the township staff growing and then also our staff growing, we have people scattered all over, and we actually honestly do not have enough space to operate efficiently in this building any longer. So working with our MHOG board, we are in our Genoa Osceola Sewer and Water Authority board. We looked at building a new facility here to house the administration offices for MHOG. MHOG has currently 28 full-time equivalent employees, running both water, sewer, and then here we call this our support services group. This is our human resources, our billing, our engineering, and our other stuff for the support to staff as well as our customers. So we chose this site because it's on our existing property for the Genoa Osceola Sewer and Water Authority. It sits on 80 acres on Chilson, south of Grand River. We also chose this site because it is a geographic center nearly of the MHOG system. So it's basically equal distance for all of our customers that would come and visit us here, or any contractors or any projects that occur in the site. So the goal of this building is to provide enough space for all of our staff, as well as to have a training room that we can use for our all staff meetings, safety training for our staff. And then we also do some other training that we sometimes invite other municipalities to, such as repair of grinder pumps and things like that we have to do in the system. So that's the goal. This is to have sort of an administration building, and then also a large conference room to do training and such. Also, eventually, maybe someday board meetings and stuff for the MHOG authority boards will be at this location as well. Though currently, those are all held at Osceola Township Hall. So with that, I guess we'll turn it back over to Jason here for questions on the actual project and stuff itself. But that's our background.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to introduce as well. We have Katie Rupp with FICA Architecture, Joe White with JW Civil Works, our design team. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Looks like you've got some of your supplies there as far as
We do. Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to contribute at this time?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're ready.
So then we'll go to Brian in regards to your planner's review.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. So procedurally, the item before you tonight, this is actually permitted by right in the PRF zone district. So this is only before you for site plan review. So no special land use component to this. The impact assessment is still part of a regular site plan review. So that does require a recommendation to the board, but the site plan is a decision of the planning commission. So if you're to bring this to action this evening, it would not be a recommendation. It is the commission's authority to approve with conditions or reject the site plan as presented. I don't think the last one's going to come into play, but it's not my decision, it's yours. So a couple of first points about the building itself. So section 12.01 of the township zoning ordinance provides building material calculations, and limitations on different types of materials and certain allowances for different types of materials. This particular building does have a lot of siding, and it is in excess of what the ordinance would allow. That being said, Planning Commission does have the discretion to grant that. So, and I don't know, Amy, if you want to pull up the elevation drawings or not, but it's as far as the building goes, I don't have any issues with it, but it's pretty just a straight up calculation, and it exceeds the amount of siding that would otherwise be allowed. Therefore, either it has to be changed to incorporate more brick, or Planning Commission can use its discretion to grant it as presented. Secondarily, the materials and color scheme are subject to commission review and approval. So those things kind of go hand in hand as soon as we get those up. Parking is the other item here that will require or could require some amount of discretion from the commission. So your parking ordinance, the parking chapter of the zoning ordinance, does place a limit on what is considered excessive parking. In this case, that is 120% of the minimum amount of parking required for the use. But the commission does have the ability to grant above and beyond that 120%. In this instance, they're at about 180% of the minimum requirement. I believe it was 22 required, 40 provided. So in response to that, in my initial review, petitioner did provide some supplemental information just in terms of the number of employees that will be working out of here, potentially people, the public coming to the site. And obviously the idea, I believe, as Greg mentioned earlier, there's opportunities for training and other things to occur at this property where they would potentially need some more parking. So that is another item, again, that is up to the commission and the use of your discretion. Another discretionary item, sorry, now we're back to the building drawings. There you go. Thanks, Amy.
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
It's so large.
I can keep talking. Don't worry about it. Trying to keep it moving for everybody. So there's a rendering of the building. Again, stone masonry base. It's that siding, and it's just that percentage of siding that is above the standard requirement, but the commission can still grant that. Where I was headed, landscaping. So similarly, they are, in terms of their greenbelt plantings, this portion of Chilson is pretty well wooded with existing mature vegetation. So this is another item where, and this is pretty consistent with past practice here, we don't want to see them take out mature, healthy trees just to put in new, smaller trees to meet our standards. So commission does have the authority to allow existing vegetation in lieu of the new plantings. So that's another item. Again, in my opinion, I would encourage you to allow that. They did comply. The only other landscape requirement part of this project is the parking lot landscaping, and they do fully comply with those standards. So there are no actual issues with landscaping, simply use of discretion. And then my closing comment, again, on any site plan, I want to make sure that any comments from fire authority and engineering are addressed as part of the review process. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions from the board at this time for Brian? Then we'll go to the engineer's review, please.
Thank you. So we have reviewed the revised plans, and the petitioner has addressed all of our previous comments, and there are no other engineering-related concerns.
Thank you. And our letter from the fire department says any previous comments have been revised on the drawings and noted to be complied with as a part of the development. We go to the impact assessment here. There's a number of notations I've looked at in here that's talking about limiting any kind of tree removal and clearing so that you can leave it natural. During construction, you'll have dust and noise, construction related. You'll make sure that those are taken care of. They will be controlled through appropriate construction practices. You have in here the proposed administration building is consistent with the existing use of the property. It's been, additional parking has been provided to accommodate the additional conference rooms use, and certainly being able to have a conference room to educate and engage either members of your staff or the general public is certainly appreciated. We do have a letter here from, a note from, is it FICA Architects? Is that correct? Thank you. Regarding the reference to request the siding to be to be accepted in terms of the lack of what's standard. So they believe that the proposed design is consistent with the intent of the ordinance and requirements of section 1201. The building's character and aesthetics are comparable with the surrounding area, not contrary to the intent of the ordinance. You should all have a copy of this letter, either, no?
No, we didn't have, we forgot to make a copy to put at the table.
Okay, so I'll read the rest of this here. So this letter is to Mr. Borden. We appreciate your valuable feedback. After a thorough review, we've taken the necessary corrective measures, provided responses to your comments, and this is in regards to the siding. For your reference, please find the attached letter along with the accompanying revised drawings dated 7/17. We request the applicant provide building material calculations demonstrating compliance with the material standards of section 1201. These are acknowledged. The required calculations have been provided on sheet A201. So it states specifically in A201, I think that it's at 50% of, is that right?
Correct. The siding's 50%.
And it's it's a requirement that it needs to be, you've got it at 25%, correct?
For the ordinance.
So it says, we believe the proposed design is consistent with the intent of the ordinance and the requirements of section 120105. The building's character and aesthetics are compatible with the surrounding area and are not contrary to the intent of the ordinance. Additionally, a dense band of mature trees and existing vegetation along the property will substantially screen the building from public view, further minimizing its visual impact. The existing Lakeshore Village, which there's a picture rendering on your display here, located across from Chilson Road, primarily utilize horizontal siding with a 3-course brick base on the apartment buildings, reflecting a material palette similar to the ones of the proposed design. A waiver request will be submitted in accordance with section 120104. Brian has noted the building materials and color scheme are subject to the review of the Planning Commission. That's acknowledged. They've provided a material color scheme on sheet A201. So can everybody see the plans that are in front of us, the renderings of what the building was going to look like, a street view, and the brick fascia that will be on the base of the front? Does that go around the side of it as well, or is it just on the front?
It
Wraps all the way around?
And then this top color here is that vertical batten board. And then this is the wood, the warmth wood grain that you'll see on those column enclosures in front.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
I think another important thing to mention is the adjacent site, the residential sites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it matches that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this picture, we draw a lot of houses, and this picture looks like every start of every drawing we do that is handed to us. So I think they did a nice job.
It does,
Where
yep.
it's located.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
When MHOG was talking about using that property, they did approach staff. And we agreed also, even though it is the Planning Commission's decision, that it fits well in the neighborhood. With all the residential homes that are there, we thought it was a good fit also.
It looks like a home, actually. When you look at it, it doesn't look like an office building.
Correct. Yep.
You say homes, are you talking about the lakes across the street?
The apartments, and then
Apartments.
there's also homes up and down Chilson Road that are right by there. Correct. Yes.
On larger parcels, generally to the south of them, yep.
Yep.
Any more questions?
On page 53 of the packet, it shows some asphalt running along Chilson Road. This is not expanding the width of Chilson Road? Is it just taking some of the shoulder and putting asphalt on it as, is that to help inflow and egress of traffic on paved rather than shoulder of the road?
Correct. It's the taper that's going to enter into the site. We're not actually spanning the width of the road.
That was a county road commission.
So the existing trees that are in front of, that run along Chilson Road, you're just leaving that natural the way it is currently, is that correct?
As many as we can. We do have to do some grading to the east of the parking lot, but we're gonna leave as much of that strip as possible as native material.
Do you know what the caliper of trees there? I was over there today and I was trying to be safe with my driving, but as far as what, there's a significant buffer there, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions from anyone here? All right, so I will go to the public here. If there's anyone that would like to speak to this project, would you please come up and share your thoughts, opinions, or not? All right, we'll come back up to the board. So if there's no other questions or comments,
So tonight we're making a disposition of site plan, meaning there's no additional approvals required after tonight. I want to spend a little bit of time discussing the south part of that parking lot, because one of the requests is to go beyond the required of 22 up to 40. So it's a deviation of plus 82%. We all know what's behind this property. Where the proposed building's at doesn't concern me in regards to, obviously that will always block the view of what's behind it. I know you're keeping some vegetation, but just looking at their photo, it kind of seemed like it might be a little light potentially in that area on this south parking lot right here. It's hard to tell, but I guess what assurances can you give us about the sewer treatment plant being fully screened? Right now, one of the lovely things about it is that no one knows it's there. And I think it's important for our community to ensure that that's still the case. So what assurances can we have that that condition remains?
I think the biggest one is that based on that hill that you see behind the site,
Mm-hmm.
the road in Chilson's so high that you can barely see the roof lines of those buildings on the wastewater. It's so much lower that you're actually over the plant. Even in the winter time when the trees are all bare, you can barely make out the roof line of our house building or our storage barn back there. Also, the sludge storage tanks there are flat. So where this is going is between that oxidation ditch you see there and those clarifiers. And so at that location, you're not really looking at any buildings per se. They sit so much lower. That oxidation ditch is only sitting about 4 or 5 feet above grade at that lower elevation as well.
Yeah, I see the contours now. It appears as though there's almost 12 to 15 feet of elevation change, and then it comes back down towards the road again 10 feet. So that stays preserved as a condition. Therefore, that new parking lot sits above the general elevation of the sewer treatment plant.
And one of the things we looked at doing was not having as much parking, and of course, because we're trying to make this thing as economical as possible, or for being a public project. We were looking at, well, we could have parking down in the wastewater plant, people could walk up, but the hill is so steep that we really couldn't envision people walking up that very, very steep hill to go to a training or something. Because that was our first thought was, have people park down in the wastewater plant property and just walk up the hill to the admin building. But it's so steep that we wouldn't feel comfortable with people trying to hoof it up that steep terrain.
I don't see any signs on the proposal. Is that the intent, that there's no signs?
We would probably have a sign up, I mean, if you look at the existing sign we have for the Geo wastewater plant, we'd look to find for something similar to that, for, the MHOG admin offices, just so that we could find it.
And
Well,
we'll have
if
to come
this
back.
operates as one property, is there an opportunity to just incorporate that into one sign?
But it does operate as one property, but it is separate, so our wastewater plant is the Genoa Osceola, treatment facility. This is our MHOG administration building, so, for residents in Marion Township per se that don't have sewer offered by us, we want them to be able to see that this is where they can come and pay their water bill, or, pick up a meter or whatever, so.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the sign standards would only accommodate it as one ground sign. No one's correcting me, but
No, I'm shaking my head.
okay,
I
yeah.
was thinking the
It's
same
just
thing.
okay.
I was thinking the same thing as it allowed, now they can do a directional sign,
Okay.
but depending on what size their
Yeah.
sign is now, they could put like the logo, MHUG logo on it and just put admin building. You can do a directional sign, I think, at your driveway. That might be a way, or it might be a variance
Yeah.
request.
Or just a new sign.
A new sign.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty small, the one
No
that's
building
there.
mounted sign.
We weren't intending on a building on it.
Okay.
Instead, we're trying to make it look more like a residential home, so.
Yep.
Homes will have, a sign on the front, so that was not what we wanted to do.
Curious, is it appropriate for us to put that on as a condition? No building mounted sign? So it, or is that touch into sign ordinance stuff we shouldn't?
I mean, I think they're technically allowed one, so I don't know that I would go that far, and they may change their mind in the future.
I mean, they're requesting a deviation from building materials, so.
That's the commission's call.
We do want people to be able to find us though, so.
He's already.
Yeah.
He's already.
It's not that easy to find, really. Like,
It's horse free.
right, especially if you're coming in from, one of the other municipalities, you might not really, it sneaks up on you. You drive right by that sign that's there, you don't
Yeah.
really see it that well at the road.
Which is good, because it's a sewer treatment plant.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the intent.
But if you want to collect money,
They could move that sign though to in front of
Yeah.
this. We'll see what happens.
okay. Any further thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, any more comments? All right, we're looking for a motion.
Did we call public?
I believe we did.
Did we?
We did
Oh.
call the
Okay,
public,
all
thank
right.
you. Yes.
Let me get my act together. I can make it. All right, Madam Chair. Like to recommend to the Township Board approval of the environmental impact assessment dated June 23rd, 2026.
So we have a motion. Do you have support? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And then the next motion.
All right, Madam Chair, like to approve the site plan. That has a date of
7/21.
7/21/2026, with the following conditions. That the Planning Commission finds it appropriate to approve the deviation of building materials so as to match into the existing character of the surrounding area, with the limitation of no wall signs. That the request for additional parking over the 22 required parking spaces to 40 be granted, so that the building can function as intended. That the existing vegetation is found to be acceptable screening in lieu of new screening materials. That the any outstanding items from the township engineer's review be made prior to the issuance of a land use permit, that the requirements of the Brighton Area Fire Authority and their review letter be adjusted as well prior to issuance of land use permit, and that the any requirements from Safe Build's letter dated July 31st, 2026 also be incorporated prior to land use permit. Yeah, that's my motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for your service to the community. Yep. Look forward to seeing that new building. All right. And as you are exiting, I just want to say that we're still having a meeting. I don't suppose that you guys are going to gather in the lobby and have this long discussion that we can't hear, but just a reminder, sometimes when people leave, we can't hear what the next project is going on. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The next item on our agenda is item number 3 of Trinity Health Parking Addition. And do we have Tiffany Spano here?
Thank you for having us. With me, I have Tristan Larson from PEA, John O'Malley, the president of the hospital, and Rick.
You know what? I think if you wouldn't mind, I probably think that Patty's having a hard time hearing you. Thank you.
So currently, we're proposing an additional 318 parking spaces. Previously, when we came and submitted years ago, before we started the hospital, we had bank spaces accounted for, not thinking that we would need those. So
Can I interrupt you for just a
Sure.
minute? Can you put the microphone
Oh, sure.
closer so that if
Sorry.
anybody's
Sorry.
listening at home, they can hear you, and anybody else in the audience that might not be able to? Thank you.
Absolutely. So previously, we had bank parking identified on our previous plans when we originally submitted for the hospital to be built, hoping that we wouldn't need those. Obviously, based on our current volumes, we submitted a letter right now for our volumes of staff that we have. We are finding that the current parking that was designed by Smith Group was not adequate to support the staffing needs that we currently have for staff parking, which is why we've engaged PEA, who put together plans for you with regards to adding an additional 318 spaces, including an underground detention for storm water. And that's because we have additional needs on the property for master planning for future growth. So Tristan's here. He can talk about specific questions related to the plans. And I know there was quite a few questions I think that we had on there and some additional comments that we needed to address.
Tristan, are you Tristan?
Yes, I'm Tristan Larson with PEA Group, civil engineer for the project. Yeah, we got comments last week, and we've revised the plans since then and addressed those comments from Tetra Tech. Fire didn't have any comments, and we're also working with the county to get their approvals for the storm detention.
And
Is there a problem with the sound? Because I'm having, I know Mike's
Hard
having
time.
some trouble over here too, trying to hear.
Be on. Push it up towards you.
Oh, I don't think.
Oh,
Oh, that's the buzz, okay.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
if I push it up, it goes red, and then it goes off.
you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is it better? No,
Oh,
still
it
not.
needs to be closer to your mouth.
Yeah.
Sorry, our sound is, we're limping.
We'll just be loud.
Okay.
Louder's good.
Yeah, so we're looking at 318 new spaces and proposed underground detention for the added impervious area for the parking.
What is the underground for?
Trinity has plans for more future development on the site, and instead of taking up space for another detention pond, There's already a detention pond on site that the water goes to. So this would be where to treat the 318 spaces, it goes underground and then it outlets to the pond to the north. That's requirements from Livingston County Drain Commissioner.
So the new parking lot creates impervious area.
Yep.
That creates more stormwater runoff.
Yep.
And one solution beyond open ponds, which is the most common, to adding storage, stormwater storage, is to put it underground in parking lots. This is most seen in downtown areas. So in fact, City of Brighton, as you go up and down Grand River Avenue, many of those restaurants and all have underneath their parking lots underground stormwater storage. And they're using it in this instance so that they don't have to increase the capacity of the existing pond and probably likely preserve future development area as well.
And where does that water drain to? It's just held in a tank underground?
Yeah, there's an outlet that's restricted, and that outlet then goes into the existing pond and the existing runoff conveyance system
Over time.
over time. Yep.
Did that answer your question?
Does, thank you.
Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add at the moment, Tristan?
No.
Okay, then we will go to our engineer. Brian, can you give us a highlight?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Just for the record, I'm not the engineer, I'm the planner, but
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yes, you are.
I don't want to confuse anyone.
Well-
I don't want to be asked any stormwater questions.
No, no.
But I will gladly defer them. So, yeah, thank you again. My apologies. So we do have 3 components to this request, and I do have to look at Amy because I wrote this up a little differently than the agenda says. So we do have an environmental impact assessment. That's before you for recommendation to the Township Board. We have an amendment to the PUD agreement, which is before you for recommendation to the Township Board. We also have an amendment to the final PUD site plan, which I thought we were doing as a planning commission function,
But it wasn't a PUD,
right?
so I thought it had to be
Okay.
a recommendation.
I'm good either way. When we originally spoke, we were treating it as a minor amendment to a final PUD plan. I thought we were going to do that under planning commission purview, but
I will go with what you want.
no, I don't want anything. So take that back. I don't want that on the record either. I want many things, but as far as what we're doing tonight, no, I think, Madam Chair and Amy, I think the fact the agenda is written up as recommendation, the fact it's a PUD, I'm fine with the whole package going to the board for their final approval authority. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. So we'll go with the agenda. I think that's the safest thing to do here. So again, those are the items before you. So my first set of comments is really just related to the, there was a pretty minor change needed to the PUD agreement. I believe that document did come in. I apologize. I did not have time to review it yet. And my review letter was already late going out last week. So I haven't seen that yet. But we were looking to put that forth with a condition that any comments from township staff and the township attorney were to be addressed. I believe the township attorney has already looked at it and I believe did provide feedback already though. So
That is correct. He just had one change to add Charter Township,
okay.
and that was it.
Did you and Kelly also have to review it, or did you
No,
have
we
no
have not had
comments,
time.
just Joe's? Okay, so I think, Madam Chair, I think for that purpose, I think the review comments have been provided, so I don't think we need any conditions attached to that particular item.
Thank you.
So into the site plan itself, so I have a few relatively minor items here. First and foremost is as part of their overall landscape plan, they are attempting to remove and transplant 20 existing trees. And I applaud them for taking this on. And if they can pull it off, I think that's fantastic. But I would like, or at least encourage the commission to incorporate a condition that if any of those trees do not survive transplanting / replanting, that they would have to be replaced with a similar type, size, etc. In this case, I think they were all canopy trees, but and hopefully that won't be needed. But I just want to be careful because that doesn't always work in my experience.
Within what time frame?
I mean, they should be given a chance to survive, right? So, I mean,
Our ordinance requires a year, I
One
believe.
season.
Like,
That's fine with me.
Any
year.
dead landscaping has to be replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a year.
Yeah, I mean, I would really, I mean, I think it'll be great if it works, and it may very well work. I'm not in LA, and I don't have a green thumb, so, but I just know that having seen this in other communities and other projects, I think even here doesn't always work. So I just wanted to protect the township on that end. Lighting plan, all checked out, no issues there. I did ask, because this is a PUD, I did just ask for confirmation that poles and fixtures are consistent with what exists on property. Provides a little bit of compatibility, some continuity throughout the site, which is part of the intent of the PUD anyway. Anything from engineering, fire, has to be addressed. And then I did ask for one additional kind of cleanup item on the plans. There were a few other things that were sort of contemplated when this was submitted for the parking expansion, up to and including potentially a temporary trailer structure to intake additional patients in a much quicker manner. But I understand that's no longer part of the request. But if you look at the plans themselves, there are probably 4 or 5 different areas identified as future development areas. I would just like to see those taken off of this plan, because I do think it just leads potentially to more confusion. The whole project's governed by an approved PUD. Any future development plans that they want to put forth, they're going to have to apply for at a later date. If they're consistent with the agreement and the concept plan, we'll move forward into final PUD site plan. If they're not, we may have to look at potentially amending the existing PUD. I just want to avoid any confusion by saying we're granting this project and all of a sudden now we're potentially granting future development areas when we have no detail behind that. So I would just like to see those items and the hatching and the denotations removed from this particular plan as it moves forward through the review process. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions for Brian at this point? Now we can go to the engineer's review.
Thank you. So we did have a few comments for this site plan. A general comment is that the land use summary table on the cover sheet indicates that the proposed plan indicates that it will decrease the impervious area, when in reality the extension of the parking lot will increase the impervious area. So that should be updated. And we did get a response letter. I got a response letter today, so some of these items have been resolved, but some of them I will actually have to see the revised plans to resolve them. And then for drainage and grading, easements should be provided and shown in the plans for the proposed storm if required by the Draining Commission. And this one was resolved by the response letter. Drainage areas for catch basins 9 and 11 exceed the maximum drainage area allowed for the inlet type assumed by the township standards for open areas, and a double inlet should be added to both locations to meet the drainage requirements and avoid ponding during rain events. And then soil borings should be provided for the proposed underground detention as required by the township's engineering standards. And the soil borings should be provided to a depth of 20 feet below the proposed bottom elevation of the ground, and document groundwater elevations. And then I have received additional documentation from the petitioner for this, and this item has been resolved. Structural calculations should be provided where the underground detention is located under pavement to ensure the system will not fail under normal loading conditions. And this item has been resolved by the letter. A system maintenance plan shall be submitted to ensure the underground detention and to ensure it'll be taken care of properly. And then for the parking lot, additional spot elevations or slope arrows should be provided within the proposed parking lot to ensure the grades meet the township standards. The township requires the minimum subbase thickness for a sidewalk to be 6 inches, and in the plans, they were provided as 4 inches. For the asphalt cross sections, the subbase thickness and material should be called out and meet the township standards. And then the asphalt cross sections show the bond coat to be 0.05 gallons per square yard when the township requires 0.1 gallons per square yard. And then we recommend that the comments be addressed and resubmitted for additional review.
Madam Chair, I'd
Yes.
just like to state, this revision came in after the packet was already issued. So that's why she has not seen the plans yet.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. And so the letter that was dated 8/7 identifies the land use table has been updated to provide accurate information. There's 5 items under drainage and grading. There are, under the parking lot, there are 4 items under the parking lot. So in reference to your letter, some of these things have been addressed, others you still need to review.
Yes, yeah. I believe 3 items have been addressed without me having to see the plans to make sure that they are addressed, which was items 1, 3, and 4 under drainage and grading. For item number 3, the petitioner did provide me additional information after my letter was submitted that confirms that information.
So what would be satisfactory to you in regards to your request for these items and the letter that has just come out that you've not really been able to review here to satisfy the conditions per what you've written?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense? Any questions at the table here? Okay. Next, we have the fire department letter here. It says the fire authority has no objections to the proposed parking lot expansion. As the drives are not emergency vehicle access, they're not required to meet the width and radius dimensions. Improvements will be required if the future development area is developed. And we have an impact assessment here dated July 2nd of 2026. Has everyone had a chance to look at this and review any comments or questions?
Okay.
No. Obviously, you're expanding this because you need more parking, but I'm looking at impact on traffic and pedestrians. Did you anticipate the growth to be this quick for you?
No, and we're in the process right now, so we have 2 sheltered space areas within the hospital. One of them is a 24-bed unit. So we're in the process right now of going through construction on that, which will be open in May of 2027, which therein lies additional need for parking. And if we fit out the second floor sheltered space, that'll be the same thing. That's an additional 16 beds. So this is solely for staffing purposes right now.
And you feel this is satisfactory to be able to accomplish what your growth is currently in your?
We do.
Okay. All right. I hear a question coming.
Yeah, it's got clear tells, don't I? So the PUD allowed for a total of 1,064 parking spaces, of which you constructed 800 and some. But the current PUD accommodated for that. The request tonight is for 1,109 total parking spaces, so it's an additional 45 over the previous approved PUD. I just want to make sure that's accurate. Okay. So in one way, to offer a thought here, all but 45 of these spaces we've already approved. Because they have been shown on as bank parking. So I just want to make sure that we are aware of that. The request tonight, in my opinion, isn't for 318 new parking spaces. It's for the approval of the bank parking spaces plus an additional 45. So for me, that helps me, I think, justify the request here this evening when I think through it through that lens.
We do have a letter from Trinity Health that is dated August 6th, addressed to Ms. Ruthig regarding the request to construct the additional parking. Does everyone have a copy of that?
Yes.
To review? I do remember when we were approving this project, changing the amount initially, which probably leads to where the error is in this. We changed it and we talked about the numbers, so that's probably where that came from. But obviously, with the increase of patients and with the increase of beds, it's a necessary thing, and it's going to be a safety issue and convenience to our residents as well as to the people that are working at the hospital. So, anyone else have any comments regarding the request?
I do. So the banked parking, which is already approved, plus the additional 45, it says that the parking expansion is necessary to preserve convenient and accessible parking for patients and visitors, provide adequate parking capacity for existing and future staff. So is this alluding to, I guess, the expansion that says in May 2027 for the additional beds and procedural rooms and everything? Okay. So right now, for the foreseeable future, this banked parking plus the 45, as far as you can see in your crystal ball, that's going to cover you guys for a year, 2 years.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Uh-huh. And are you running out of parking spots right now for?
We have adequate parking. Where our staff entrances, that's primarily where we're having the issue right now is in the back where our staff entrance is. That we're trying to protect the patient parking areas. We do have staff that like to park in the front of the hospital, but we're really trying to preserve that for our patients so that they get the best spots and have adequate parking. When we first opened, we were full where we had patients parking at 242. Obviously, I think the excitement and the entertainment value of everybody coming and seeing things, including all of Trinity's staff, has died down significantly. So we're not having an influx in the patient parking, but in our staff, we currently have staff parking at Genoa Woods and as well as 242.
Does that have to do with shift change?
Yeah.
That's what I was at.
Any other questions up here?
I guess after this expansion, let's say, do you have adequate room for, if you had to come up here and say, we need another 100 spots, where would that go?
I'm sorry, can you,
Yes, sorry.
the microphone?
We did include, and the reason that we included on our drawings, the future outbuildings was to justify, one, the underground detention system that we're proposing, and then two, just to kind of show you guys what we're looking at for our master plan in the future, so that you could understand where we're going with that. But I do believe, based on where our future outbuildings are going that we're proposing, that we would have adequate space to the east of us to add additional parking if needed. Do you agree? He's
And
our
can
civil
you,
engineer.
can you identify like where that would be feasibly?
Yeah, I think it's,
Unfortunately, it's taken me.
I know.
yeah.
So, yeah, if it helps, it would be to the right, so it's east, yes, right where your hand is. Yeah. And we have an easement there. We have a DTE, I think DTE easement as well as consumers, I believe, on the east side of the property.
Yeah, and a sanitary. But yeah, and it would be a similar situation where we'd have to do detention and for the storm as well, for added parking for another expansion. We'd have to come back here for that. So
What is PRF parcel? Zoned PRF.
Public recreational
Facility.
facility.
That is the Lake Edgewood sewer plant.
Mm-hmm. Zone PRF.
Well, I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm getting older. Everybody's getting older, and hospitals are never going to go out of business. Sorry.
Right.
I mean, It's good that we have enough parking to accommodate patients and visitors, and this is be more for staff is what I'm hearing, so that they're not occupying the prime real estate up front.
It's good to have staff to be attending to all those patients that are sitting, waiting.
Yeah.
Yes. We've all experienced that, right? Any other questions? I'm going to turn this over to members of our audience here. Is there anybody that has any questions, comments regarding this project? So with that, we will come back up front and look for the comments from the board in regards to what the pleasure is of the board here.
Yeah. Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a recommendation to the Township Board for approval of the environmental impact assessment dated July 2nd, 2026, with no changes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Motion passes.
All right, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend the Township Board approval of the site plan dated July 14th, 2026, with the following conditions. That the Planning Commission finds the approval of the banked parking plus the additional 45 parking spaces to be acceptable with the intent and the needs and capacity operations for the Trinity Health Livingston Hospital. That any trees marked as transplanted need to survive their first year or be replanted with the same species of tree. That there be consistency in the details of the site lighting throughout the entirety of the site. That any areas on the plans identified as future development areas be removed so that we clarify the intent of this approval. That the comments from the fire department letter dated August 3rd, 2026 be captured and met satisfactory prior to the issuance of a land use permit. That the comments in Tetra Tech's letter dated August 4th, 2026 also be captured and addressed satisfactorily prior to land use permit, and that the comments from Safe Built dated August 7th, 2026 also be addressed in a satisfactory manner prior to land use permit. That is my recommendation for site plan.
So we have a motion. Do we have support?
Second.
Any discussion?
Harmony.
Yes, that's good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed?
Hmm.
Motion carries. And then last, we have the PUD agreement, recommendation of the PUD agreement.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the Township Board approval of the PUD amendment with the condition that all staff and attorney feedback and conditions be addressed prior to issuance of land use permit.
Support.
Real quick, Amy, does that capture that works?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Still support.
We have a motion, we have support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have open hearing number 4, consideration for an environmental impact assessment and site plan for a proposed 6,515 square feet building with 8 vehicle bays for a minor auto repair establishment in the existing Livingston Commons Phase 2 planned unit development. Property is located on the south side of Grand Oaks Drive, west of South Latson Road, and the request is petitioned by Zaremba Group LLC And we have Zaremba Group LLC here.
Yes, hi. You guys do a good job going through everything, so I'll try to be quick on the introduction. Tonight is Whitney Pizzala with AR Engineering, who's our civil, and then John Gaber is our land use attorney, who's been helping us navigate the PUD and your guys' ordinance to try to put forth, a developable project. Little bit of history. Zaremba Group, we have this piece of property under contract to purchase, subject to approvals. Our tenant would then be Firestone, Bridgestone Firestone, the automotive repair and tire store that everyone I'm sure has heard of before. So with that said, we've gone through all the comments and we'll go through them again, but our intent is to fully meet all of these that you guys have outlined, including the planning, the fire, as well as the engineering comments. So with that said, we can go through the project. I don't really have anything else, so.
Did you say you're going to go through it?
No, I'm saying we're good.
You're
On our
good.
side,
You
yeah.
don't want to present. Okay. We'll go right to our planner. Brian.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Thank you for letting me talk more, I guess. It's not what anybody here wanted to hear but me,
not what he
but
meant.
that's okay. I'm kidding. So procedurally, this property is within an existing PUD. So this is before you for review and recommendation of both the final PUD site plan as well as the environmental impact assessment. So again, Township Board has final review and approval authority over both items on the agenda this evening. So yeah, I actually don't have a ton of comments. This was something I meant to say earlier this evening so the other petitioners could have heard too, but all of our applicants this evening did a fantastic job of addressing first round reviews. So that includes these folks as well. So I wanted to at least put that out there on the record, even if the other three applicants didn't get to hear me say it. So this particular use does have a host of use conditions with it. Under this PUD, it is permitted by right as a use. So again, no special land use review. However, we do review it for compliance with the use conditions. In this case, section 70202K. The only item I really have other than my typical deference to fire authority and or engineering is this project is subject to a land division. So if you see the undeveloped piece that's essentially north of the hotel, that is currently a parcel. They are proposing to split that to create sort of an east parcel and a west parcel. Their project would be on the east side. I don't believe that land division's been executed yet, Amy. So what I would suggest is simply that if you're going to make favorable recommendations tonight, I would encourage you to include successful execution of the land division as a condition. There was originally the initial submittal, they were actually a little short on the road frontage for a property for this particular use. So that's why that came up to begin with. They have modified, they've worked with the property owner as part of their, I believe you're under purchase agreement, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Part of their purchase agreement, they have worked with the owner to acquire the additional land needed to satisfy that particular condition. But again, they will still have to formally go through the land division process. So I'm just suggesting that that be a condition to a favorable recommendation.
Brian,
Yes.
can you, as we have this showing, where is the hotel?
To the south.
Let me go.
And then the gas station is to the east,
Correct.
across from where that bump out
Yep.
is?
Yeah, that shared the grade area, the existing pavement there. So yeah, to the south, to the bottom of your screen, if you will.
Okay.
That would be the hotel.
Got
That'd
it.
be the north side of their parking lot drive aisle.
Okay.
And to the right side of the screen, or the east in this case, that is the shared drive access, which was built originally for the gas station.
Okay, thank you.
And
And
so
then,
they would be entering off of and exiting off of that shared drive on the east side.
okay. And when they had to reconfigure the frontage, was it the frontage on Grand Oaks Drive? Okay.
Yep, correct.
All right.
Yeah, this use has a 1 acre area minimum and a 250-foot frontage minimum. So that was where the initial discrepancy was with the first submittal.
Okay.
But again, quickly corrected, easily mitigated. So there are no issues or concerns as it relates to that.
Thank you.
With respect to the site plan details, again, you've heard me say this all night, and you'll hear me say it most nights. Materials and color palette of the building itself are subject to review and approval by the Planning Commission. I do have a couple of suggestions with respect to, in this case, it's the parking. So there are, if you look at the west side of the site, they are compliant. All their spaces, they have the right number of spaces. They are all designed properly per ordinance. They do have 2 parallel parking spaces on the west side of the property. You all have heard me say this for close to 23 years working with this community now. I don't like parallel parking spaces on commercial sites. They tend to not function well. They tend to cause problems for circulation and/or patrons. However, I don't have an issue with them when they are dedicated for specific purpose. And in this case, my suggestion is that those be dedicated for employees. That way employees can park there, they can leave their cars there. They're not coming in and out. It doesn't really mess with patrons navigating the site. So that is a suggestion. That is not a requirement by any stretch. The parallel parking spaces do meet your ordinance. That is just something from experience that I will bring up anytime I see parallel.
Brian, can you point out where these are at?
Yeah, it's the west side of the property, and then you see the number 2. Yep, it's those 2 spaces right there.
Here.
Yep. So again, I mean, they're kind of out of the way, but it's something I'm going to say every time we see parallel spaces on a site plan. So
it's just those 2.
And those are for employee?
I'm suggesting that they be reserved for employees only, so that patrons aren't forced to use parallel spaces on a commercial site.
Imagine an auto care place, employees will drive in and out cars often too. So, I mean, there's a bit of a staging component to the parking on this site too.
So I'm sorry.
And it's just the 2 spots.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the bottom of the Firestone Complete Auto Care block there. Those are your 8 bays. Is that where I'm seeing?
Correct.
So you kind of pull around to the back there, to the south side of the building. And it's not like a drive-through, like an oil change place where you pop back out the front. So then you leave your car there, so you back it out and take off there.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe viewing the elevation would.
I'm sorry, you had a comment?
I just thought maybe the elevation to bring up, but yes, the bays are on the south side, the bay doors, and then the north side is the front of the wall. So there's not a pull through, if that's what you were commenting on.
Yeah. I think it's important to note when you look at this site plan, there was a pre-application meeting for this site that I participated in. And one of the changes that they're coming in with this evening was having those bays face south and not north.
Sure.
Originally, those faced north in their initial concepts, but facing them south created the activities of the auto repair towards the hotel, but kept the facade on the frontage and stuff. So that's how this came about.
So the rendering that you have up here, the top one it would be facing the
Correct. South elevation would be facing the hotels, and all the work, everything gets done inside the building in those bays. But yeah, the intent was to have our front entrance, the principal entrance, which is an element that you see facing Grand Oaks with the signage, and the bays and all the other work would be in the south toward the hotel, away from the main street on Grand Oaks right there.
And then that glass, there's a spandrel glass.
Yes.
So spandrel glass is a reflective glass. You can't look into it. So you don't see the activities inside with spandrel glass. It's just meant to look like glass that you can't see through.
So the main entrance, obviously, that will have a big glass where you can see in the spandrel glass in the north elevation. That is spandrel glass, exactly what you're saying. Also, because that's kind of where their storage room is, like their tires and all their equipment, and then also where their break rooms and bathrooms are. So obviously they didn't want see-through glass showing into their break room. So that's kind of just the layout of the building.
So let any light in?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
It's just a barrier that looks attractive.
It just makes, it's faux glass that looks attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So I know on the opposite side of the street, that's your Lowe's, I think,
Yeah.
right? And then you've got the USA to Go with the Tim Hortons there is your neighbor. And then you've got your hotel there, your other neighbor. how does like maybe because there's a gas station, how is this like compatible with the nearby buildings? Aren't we supposed to have some level of compatibility or complementary uses with nearby buildings or businesses?
Well, we have a car wash across the street. We have a gas station right across the street from
Yeah,
it.
the gas station is the closest thing that I can come up with, but not a Lowe's and not a hotel.
So auto care, what does the auto care provide?
Yeah, so it's like oil changes, brakes. It's not an auto body shop where it's if you get damage to your car, they're not replacing stuff. They're not painting. But it's just like your normal vehicle maintenance. Everyone takes a car if you have a car for oil change, brakes, fluids, topping off fluids, and also tires, which Bridgestone is a big tire supplier as well. So they sell tires there. But yeah, any just typical car maintenance, I would say. No body shop work, no heavy machinery work, just mostly oil changes, brakes, struts, stuff like that.
Farther down the road, there's a lot more vehicle activity. Another tire shop, a truck place, radiator place.
And as you go down the road, then you get to the UPS and all the businesses there. And across the street, that Lowe's is their sort of their storage area. It's not very attractive.
Not supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, from my perspective, I think it's consistent in that it's not only a retail, but it's also a service business. It's a business, which is, you're surrounded by businesses. I think the building, appears to be consistent with what's surrounding, specifically what we built across the street and approved just recently. So I kind of see it aligned, from my perspective.
I do too.
As far as the building elevations go, that now that you touched on that, we did meet, like Eric was saying, we did meet with you guys on a pre-app, and we were showing. I didn't bring our normal drawing for Firestone because just my trip up here, I could tell that this is above and beyond, I guess, than what Firestone's just prototypical building is. So that was eliminating EFIS and Nichiha, going with real brick and real stone, complementary to those surrounding buildings, to the gas station right next to us. We used a lot of their materials that we were able to find on their drawing. So we're hopeful that the building that we brought, and we brought some samples here, is more in line with these new developments that we are seeing here. Not typical Firestone, I'll say that. Genoa definitely is standing alone with how we designed this, which is a good thing. But yeah, that's it. We did have a conversation early on with you all at the pre-app where we knew we had to make some changes, and that's what we're trying to show to you here tonight.
Amy, what is that property, this property zoned as? What's the parcel? Is it
The
zoned
one- this
light
current
industrial? Yeah, what is it?
It is zoned non-residential PUD. It is part of the Livingston Commons Phase 2 PUD agreement.
Brian, can we come back to you?
Please.
Thank you.
I was almost done anyway. The last item I had, other than referencing back to fire authority and engineer again, is the overall, the landscape plan is generally consistent with ordinance standards. They are short 2 trees. Technically, they're parking lot trees, but it is a little tight to try to find spaces to provide them. What I would suggest in this case is that commission require those 2 additional trees, but that they don't necessarily have to be parking lot. They could be placed elsewhere on the property. That would be the only other deficiency that I noticed in my review.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. Engineering report.
Okay, so we reviewed the site plan and had a couple comments. A general comment is the plan should be signed and sealed by a professional engineer or architect. And for drainage and grading, easements should be provided if required by LCDC, which the petitioner has discussed with me and has addressed this comment. And then the recommendation is the petitioner address the comments and resubmit for review.
Thank you. We have a letter from the fire department here, which is rather extensive. I don't know if you've seen the notations from the fire department. The letter was July 22nd. A number of these items, access drive, it talks about the second item. It says this appears to be in compliance. Number 3 says it appears to be in compliance. Number 4 appears to be in compliance. 5 appears to be in compliance. Number 6, building shall have the address on the building. Location of a knockbox should be indicated on future submittals. During construction, the building has to be evaluated for emergency responder radio signal strength. Number 9, provide names, addresses, phone numbers, and emails of the owners, agents, contracts, architects, or on-site supervisors. So there's a number still outstanding, but a number of these things that appear to be satisfactory. Appear, for appearance sake. Okay. In regards to the impact assessment, anybody have any questions in the impact assessment? I have a question for you. There's a number of redacted areas, or I don't know if they're redacted, but a number of items in here that are in red. The references all in red. Were those implementations as a request from the township, or those things that are like just standout items that you initiate in here? I'm looking specifically at page number 128. There's a number of them beforehand. Under spill supplies, it says spill materials must not be used as a substitute for shop towels. Page 129, it refers to spills greater than 5 gallons. So there's a number of items in here that are identified in red, and I just asked for clarification on.
So that report that you're looking at, that spill management plan, is directly from Bridgestone, the client. Those are things that, those are just simply items that they just try to call attention to, and that for their employees and for all their site-specific standards. So it's not necessarily something that we're, I guess, pointing out. It's more of just Bridgestone's operational that they're giving to their stores when they're going through this process. So it shows compliance.
But they're highlighted for a specific reason, their importance or anything, or it's just, that's.
It was just simply just for the employees when they're reading this, like, and to make sure that these are like items that they're reviewing. It doesn't necessarily calling to your attention per se, but obviously it is, since it is in red and it's that you submitted it, but it's not, we're not calling attention to it for this purpose.
Okay.
It's more for the employees, from Bridgestone's headquarters to their employees at each store.
Okay. And then talk to me a little bit about typical weekday trip generation as far as traffic here. You're right off the highway. You've got a Shell station that's very busy all the time there. Do you expect any influx from people that are going there, or how do you determine your trips here?
Yeah, so we had a traffic engineer review this site from an impact analysis as part of your checklist. And the peak trips, or the peak time, 7 or 14, and then daily was around 180 trips. So it's very minimal trips here. It doesn't trigger a more intense study, and we don't anticipate any issues with the surrounding. We've also been in touch with the county road department, just seeking out their approvals. They didn't have any concerns from our access standpoint. It is from a private drive, so they give us like a private drive waiver as part of their review, not necessarily another commercial drive permit, because the main one already had one from initial when they first built that.
Okay. Any other questions from the board here?
Are there any cross-access easements that we need here?
I believe it's already provided for, isn't it?
I do not believe so, not with this parcel, because this will be a new parcel. Is it?
Can I address that? So there is
Yes.
an existing cross access right now that our seller, who we'll be purchasing this from, would have access to. We've communicated with the owner of that private drive to get the cross access. So we do have it's verbal, but we are working on getting that transferred to us once we close on the land. So that would be transferred to us.
And then what about this one to the west?
Yes, that would be transferred to our seller, who will be retaining the rest of that. And whenever
Okay.
he develops his remaining parcels, it would continue. And that was the intent of adding that, is to have the cross access to the whole site.
That is the cross access that you're referencing there to the left. Is that
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Yes. Okay.
Those easements should be a part of the land division. Part of
Oh, it'll be required.
Yeah, be required in land division.
Yeah.
Call to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this matter? I guess no one does. So we'll bring it back up here to the board. Just a thought as we're talking about how this fits into the community. I envision two people going in their car, somebody getting their tires done in an oil change, and the other person's grocery shopping, and then they're going to pick them up or do, the laws, divide and conquer kind of a thing. Because it's convenient. You're right there with things that you don't like to do, but they're nearby facilities that are, close to each other. So somebody's going to go to the grocery store, somebody's going to go to Lowe's, and somebody's going to sit inside the Firestone Tire Center and wait for their number to be called. So anybody else have any comments?
I just a question. On the other side of Grand Oaks, there's that child care center. And then there's that big, I'm looking at the board packet 131. It's got a nice red circle. What is that property zoned as? Maybe, I mean, what?
The Child Care Center,
Yeah, I mean, to the north of child care center.
that
there's
is
a big-
part of the same PUD agreement.
This one that we're
Oh,
talking
sorry,
about
let me
right
get
now,
to
correct?
across this,
Right?
yeah, right there.
This
Yeah,
child
where you're-
care right here?
Yep.
That's part of the PUD agreement also.
Same PUD agreement.
Yes, this whole parcel, all this right here is part of that PUD agreement. And this parcel and over here. Well, this would be a parcel, if this property was split, this parcel here was also part of the PUD.
What are the allowed uses of that area north of childcare, that big green area? Yep.
It would be the same uses that are listed. I do not have the PUD agreement in front of me. I apologize. I can get to it though.
Sorry, to me, it just seems kind of hodgepodgey. You've got a childcare, you got a hotel, you've got a gas station, you've got a Lowe's, now you got a auto service center, and I'm wondering what's going to be in there. They just,
Wells got Fent,
huh?
and then you got Road Commission. There's a lot of industrial over there.
Yeah, I thought it would be down the other part of north-south Grand Oaks, because then I see machining shops, I see, a lot of businesses in there, the Grand Rink ice skating place and stuff.
So
This-
this use is listed as a permitted use in the PUD.
I think you've got your childcare access right next to the highway. So if people need to drop their kids off, they can get right on the highway and get going to work,
Yeah.
whatever case.
I think the childcare feels like the one that there's nothing we can do about it now, but that actually feels like the one that's out
the
of
re-
place. Yeah.
That's the one that's really out of space there.
Yeah.
Especially when you use the
Like
crushed concrete.
this fits, I think, generally, especially with the gas station there, but it's the daycare really does kind of throw it off, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
it's only
it's-
because the gas station that I would think it's even close.
Yeah.
It's like Glennis said though, I think it's the service use, you know?
Yeah.
So this is the list of uses that is allowed in the PUD.
Couple of things, huh?
Well, okay, minor auto repair establishment, is that what this is?
Correct.
Auto gasoline service station.
Just so,
In car, no.
what's the differentiator between minor or major?
Major is when, I believe, if Brian might correct me, is when they are doing dent painting.
Both are defined in the ordinance, but
Okay.
but yeah, I think the two big differentiators, I think it's auto body, so it's collision, and I think it's also more engine related as well. Would kick it into major.
Sounds like it's allowed or permitted.
All right,
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
thank you. Anybody else have any questions at this point? Any more comments? So we have a pleasure of the board in regards to looking at a disposition on this.
I can make it. Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the Township Board approval the environmental impact assessment dated June 19th, 2026. I'll capture all conditions in the site plan one, but not
Okay,
this.
we have a motion. Do we have support?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion carries. Next.
Yep. Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the Township Board approval of the site plan dated July 20th, 2026 with the following conditions. That the land division required for this project would be completed prior to the issuance of a land use permit. Additionally, that land division would include the cross-access easements required to accommodate the site plan as presented. That this board finds the building materials to be satisfactory and meet the intent of the ordinance. That the 2 parallel parking spots on the west side of the site plan be identified as employee parking only. That 2 more parking lot trees be established within the landscape plan as well. That the use conditions of section 7.02.02 subsection K, that we find that this meets the intent of those use conditions. Brian, does that wrap up your letter pretty well?
Good by me.
All right. That the township engineers review letter dated 8/4/2026, that all conditions of that letter be met as well, along with the Brighton Area Fire Department's letter dated July 22nd, 2026. That is my motion.
We have a motion. We have support.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's great. I'm gonna hire you
Thank
guys
you.
at Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job on getting that flipped, that building.
Okay.
Good.
As you're getting
Design to
organized, the next item on our agenda is the staff report. Amy,
So, as you heard, Myers will be coming forward for an outlot. And then we also have,
Clarification, is the outlot with a use or just an outlot?
it's an outlot, it's a multi-tenant outlot,
Oh,
which I believe, I haven't looked at it because they were supposed to be at this meeting, but they couldn't meet their resubmittal deadline. Brian, did Myers have a drive-through on that multi-tenant? I can't remember. I'm sorry, that's all right. I can't remember.
I want to say yes, but
But there wasn't a use specified, like there
no,
wasn't.
I don't believe specific tenants were identified.
Correct. So we have that one, and then we have Jonah's, which is over at Brighton and Chilson. They are doing a parking lot expansion. They're looking to tear that house down
Yeah.
and put more parking there. Is that it? I think that's it.
Hey, I have a question.
Mhm.
Why isn't that the Meyer lot and this other lot with the Hobby Lobby, why aren't those connected nicely?
That's what we're working
I know
towards
that's what
right
you're
now.
working on, but it seems that all these years, you haven't been able to find a way to get that done.
What
Yeah.
we needed a
So you're looking
trigger.
for a way, basically. Yeah, that's really messy, isn't it? Yeah, okay. All right, just wanted to check. You're on it.
It looks like it's a little half a road to nowhere, like they almost, if they just finish another 20
Oh.
feet, you got a little
Unfortunately,
driveway.
I don't think that road meets the standards, so that's gonna
Yeah.
have to be torn
Yeah,
up.
Yeah.
there's more to the story, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, usually what happened there is that it was requirement of one, and then the other didn't come in and build, and
It just didn't get coordinated.
it didn't get coordinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the other didn't want to spend the money, and just
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, if
becomes a
they're getting
mess.
to the point of development where the outlots can be developed, they're gonna have money to be able to do these improvements, right? It isn't like you're asking them to improve something and there's no revenue they're gonna get out of it.
Right.
So, and obviously, as the road traffic is good, they can charge more rent, right? You're gonna get more for everything. So one would think over the years, maybe we can get that done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it hasn't been a secret that we want that done to
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
party.
okay,
One tool in our toolbox then is to, when someone comes and asks for something, is
Yeah.
to secure that easement on their property,
yeah,
and which is what we did a
saw-
couple years ago. And then
Yeah.
when Meyer comes in, we can secure the other.
yeah.
So
Yes.
Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Good.
And that, the acoustic consulting, I have a meeting with them because we want to try to get them to come to the September meeting for a demonstration for us.
For this room, for this acoustic?
For the data center, about the low
Oh.
frequency
Oh,
and
that,
stuff.
okay.
So we're hoping
I was
that
on
they
the
will come.
wrong acoustic.
What data center, what is this for now?
The acoustic company that your board approved for, they're gonna come in and do a, kind of like a demonstration for noise because of the data center. They approached us and said the draft that I had in the data center ordinance, that there was some measurement inconsistencies that wouldn't been able to happen. So we contracted with them to have
We're
them
gonna get
come in.
educated.
Yes.
All right.
They're gonna help us strengthen our ordinance,
Okay.
when we go
We
to
discussed
approve it.
that 2 months ago, right?
Yeah,
Last
we,
month,
yeah,
right?
it was discussed a while ago.
We should get educated.
Yeah. So there is no data center coming. It's for the data center ordinance.
Okay.
I should repeat that just for the public. There is no data center coming. You heard it here.
Correct. So we have, hopefully that will be here in September. I think that's it. We are currently, sorry, I lied. We are working right now to get the survey out, that short survey that you requested for the master plan. So we are looking to get that out here in the short future. So then we can get going on this master plan and get that buttoned up, hopefully.
Great. Okay. The draft minutes. This is my last hurrah with my minutes. Patty, page 165 under 1B.
What's the page?
I'm
going.
Okay. The page of the minutes is 2. Under B, there, THEIR. And then I would like to add under, let me find 169. Let me find this. On the second paragraph, it says Commissioner McCreary asked about, page 6, second paragraph. I would like to add in there that Miss McCreary asked if there were tenants on this site because there have been travel trailers. And then the rest of that is fine. References because he has a tenant in the other building and he couldn't do anything about those. So I asked if he had a tenant in this building, to which he responded, no.
support.
So it needs to say he responded, no. Thank you. Yes. Correct. No tenant.
It's Mr. Perry.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Mr. Perry.
All right, so that's my motion with those changes, to approve the minutes as submitted with those changes.
I still support.
Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. None opposed. My last motion for the minutes carries.
There you go.
Woo-hoo. All right. Any comments from member discussion?
I just want to take notice that 2 of our 4 items tonight had to deal with parking, in essence, whether it was removing parking from a large development or adding parking to a large development. I do find it interesting that the most expensive development in our community's history, the hospital, got their parking wrong. And so, but we also got
their parking wrong.
Yeah, but we also got something wrong there too. So, like, I don't know. I just wonder if in the future that's worth a look at, our parking requirements or something, because it just
Pretty tough.
there's
one
more
with the staff.
deviations coming than I remember in the past coming towards us. So I wonder, like, what's changed culturally that, like, maybe our parking calcs aren't as accurate as they should be. So just a thought.
It sounded like theirs was from staff though, and coming and going. From what you
Yeah.
were saying.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean,
another
that's an incredibly well-established company that should know that.
For sure.
What you may recall.
I mean, we trust that in a
Yeah,
way.
for sure.
We deferred to them.
Yes.
Because our standard was so much lower.
Right.
They claimed, based on obviously their industry knowledge and their actual other physical sites,
Mhm.
the amount of parking that was proposed and banked was based on their own study.
Right.
Well, could I mean, isn't the hospital on Byron Road going away?
Mm-hmm. But that was always part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that condition was true and during the approval 3 years ago.
But what it is, you know, you have staff that's there and they have to close out all their reports.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure people have been in the hospital when they have staff change. You can't get down an elevator. You can't get out because staff is leaving. So you have the staff change and then you have the new people coming in. Well, those parking spots are already taken up. So, but again, they probably should have known that.
Well, so that was bought by another organization that's getting redeveloped. But I'm saying St. Joe's, though, as an organization, should have accommodated that 3 years ago.
One thing I was happy to see is it was relatively new. Upkeep Games.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in there. Sounds interesting.
That
but,
place is packed.
is it really?
Yes,
I
and
might
they're.
have to go in there.
I went by and their parking spots were all full.
I know that. What is
What is
that
this?
business? We pass it all the time. What do they do?
I'm not exactly sure.
What are we talking about?
Because nobody knows.
Games.
It's just board games and all, right?
Card games.
Oh, it's
No.
board games and card games.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
across
really?
the street on northeast side of Ladson?
It's right next to the Speedway.
Yeah.
All right.
It used to be that Salvation Army was in there for a little bit. Dick's Sporting Goods was in
I
there
was
a
gonna say, it's
long
the old
time
Dick's
ago.
Sports,
Wait,
yeah.
I'm thinking on the wrong one. Where's it at?
No.
The
It's right
batting-
next to Speedway,
Where the old
across
batting
from,
place was?
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
where SWAT,
I'm thinking of a different thing.
SWAT, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 3600 Grand River, I believe.
They had plans to develop that, didn't they?
They did,
They canned those.
and they couldn't get approvals with Speedway to do cross access.
Oh yeah, there was gonna be three.
So the traffic light.
And they were gonna have not Salvation Army, but thrift
Yeah,
store.
well, yeah.
Goodwill.
Yeah.
back there, yeah.
Yep.
That's what I was wondering. Is like, where'd this place come from?
That parking
Yeah.
lot was a little messy too.
Well, I'd like to comment on change the subject, say a little bit on the hospital.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't have any firsthand knowledge, but for secondhand knowledge, what I read, their demand has exceeded their expectations massively. And they're overloaded and they've got a lot of things to iron out. And you're right, they're a well-run organization. On the other hand, sometimes you just can't predict stuff.
Yeah.
And the sense I'm getting is they are a little bit in, we got to do stuff to react to what the demand is. Do you have that impression? And maybe it isn't just bad planning. Maybe it's just they couldn't predict very well.
Speaking with them, they approached us.
Yeah.
And we spoke with them, and they did not anticipate the emergency room.
It's
Like,
overloaded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have people in the hallways.
Yeah.
Which is like the same way it was in
COVID.
in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
You know, my husband was in organ failure, and he waited 27 hours in a waiting room
They're crazy.
to
huh?
get in the hallway
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get into a room.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just how the hospitals are
just
right now.
overloaded.
They
Yeah.
are. And they just, I don't think they anticipated being that. Everybody's going to them because they have the newest stuff, which is something I never thought of. They have the newest MRIs, the newest CT scans, they have everything.
It's wonderful we have that in the community, and it's wonderful that they got the, whatever it is, they can't, if they can't plan it out, when the problem comes, they can do something about it, right? You don't have to live with it.
Right.
So at least I give them accolades for taking care of the problem, which is great.
I think the other part of it is you can't get in to see a doctor. I mean, if you call your doctor, you're waiting a week. Yeah, and so I think some of that is like, just go to the hospital, right?
Well, that's what, yeah.
Unfortunate, but
One last comment. Madam Chair, you did a fantastic job managing that meeting.
Yeah, very good. Good job. Good job.
I completely
So
agree.
4 items, 9 o'clock, coming in cold. Well done.
Yeah.
thank you.
Very
Thank you,
good.
team.
All those
I
years of experience
apologize for
paying off.
the
Yeah.
warmness in here. We are working with, one of our apprentices is down right now. So the last time they could get in was election day, so they weren't allowed, nobody was, couldn't come in here. So, we are currently limping along right now.
All right, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, really good job.
Thank you for your patience too. Oh, I think I.
You have a wonderful memory.
Take care.